Apostles' final stand. Death for Christ. When Jesus rose and ascended, he left them one command: go. And they went. Not for riches, not for fame, but for a message worth dying for. And die they did, each one sealing his testimony with blood, showing the world that Jesus lives. Apostle Peter. He stood in Rome, weary but unshaken. Decades of preaching, miracles, and prison walls behind him. Now, under the mad Emperor Nero, Peter faced crucifixion. But he had one last request. I am not worthy to die as my Lord. And so they turned the cross upside down. The apostle who once denied Christ now died glorifying him. Head downward, faith upward. Apostle Andrew, his brother, carried the gospel north into Greece. There, soldiers seized him for defying the pagan gods. He faced death not with fear, but with joy. They tied him not nailed to an X-shaped cross to prolong his agony. From that cross, Andrew preached for 2 days until his voice gave out and heaven opened wide. Apostle James, son of thunder, blazed brightly but briefly. He became the first apostle to be martyred. Herod Agrippa's sword flashed in Jerusalem, ending James's life but not his legacy. It is said his accuser, seeing James's courage, repented and was executed alongside him. Apostle John, the beloved, faced death but did not find it. They plunged him into boiling oil in Rome, but he emerged unharmed, a living miracle. Furious and frightened, the authorities exiled him to Patmos. There, surrounded by roaring seas and barren rock, John saw visions of glory, the revelation, God's final word to a weary world. He would die old, the last of the 12, his heart still burning with love. Apostle Philip traveled through Asia Minor, facing skeptics and idol worshippers. In Hierapolis, angry crowds crucified him upside down. Yet even as life drained away, Philip preached to them of the Christ who had conquered death. Apostle Bartholomew, as known as Nathaniel, took the gospel to distant, dangerous lands like India and Armenia. There, they flayed him alive, stripping his skin from his body before finally beheading him. His brutal death could not silence the truth he carried. Apostle Thomas, the doubter-turned-bold evangelist, journeyed east to India. There he built churches and converted many. But enemies of the gospel speared him through while he prayed on a mountain. His final breath carried a prayer of faith. Apostle Matthew, the tax collector turned writer of the gospel, preached in Ethiopia. He was stabbed to death while celebrating the Lord's Supper, martyred at the altar he served. Apostle James, leader of the Jerusalem church, was thrown from the temple pinnacle by religious leaders furious at his boldness. When the fall didn't kill him, they beat him to death with a fuller's club. Apostle Thaddeus, as known as Jude, brother of James, carried Christ's message across Mesopotamia. Eventually, he was beaten to death with sticks and clubs by those enraged by the gospel's claim over their lives. Apostle Simon the Zealot, the fiery revolutionary turned follower of the Prince of Peace, took the word deep into Persia. There, refusing to worship false gods, he was sawn in half. Apostle Matthias, the disciple chosen to replace Judas, carried the gospel to the land of cannibals in Ethiopia. He was stoned and then beheaded for daring to speak the name of Jesus. All of these disciples were torn apart, crushed, stabbed,